If you were Putin, how would you explain to your followers the fact that after 457 days of struggling in Ukraine, you still don't have any control over any of the 22 major cities? Do you consider this a winning war? Think about it. My name is Operator Starsky with a daily update from Kiev, Ukraine. Tonight around 3 a.m. the Russian terrorists performed another impotent strike on the Ukrainian cities. 10 cruise missiles were launched from the area of the Caspian Sea by the Russian strategic bombers. Also 31 Shahid drones were launched from north and south. All the cruise missiles and 23 drones were intercepted by the air defense, including all of the targets flying towards Kiev. At the same time, Russians launched 7 S-300 missiles at Kharkiv Oblast, and there were reports of hits damaging primarily residential buildings and garages. Also, a hospital in Dnipro was hit and set on fire because we all know that the Russian terrorists enjoy striking civilian targets like hospitals, schools, and kindergartens, claiming that they're always full of Ukrainian troops, tanks, and NATO generals. The reason for those continuous strikes on the Ukrainian cities that we can see for the past month is obviously the growing panic among the Russian terrorists anticipating the upcoming Ukrainian counteroffensive. Several Russians that were blessed to have a few active brain cells realized that after sacrificing tremendous amounts of troops and precious vehicles in Bakhmut and still having to fight the Ukrainian defenders there and being outflanked by them, they won't be able to advance anywhere in Ukraine whatsoever. Also, the Russians have a really hard time coping with all their failures because no matter what kind of bullshit you're feeding to all the zombies out there, but still you completely failed in the Kiev Oblast, Chernihiv Oblast, Sumy Oblast, Poltava, Kharkiv, and big chunk of Kherson Oblast, including the major city itself. That's why the Russians need places like Bakhmut, deliberately turned by the Ukrainian defenders into a Russian graveyard, and you can witness tremendous celebration from taking a highly unstable control over a pile of rubble as big as 8 kilometers or roughly 6 miles across. These 8 kilometers of wasteland is basically all the mighty advancing Russian army can offer in 2023 after almost a year of fighting for this town and simultaneously losing the rest of Ukraine. Funny thing, the Russians' withdrawal from Kherson gave them this legendary one-in-a-lifetime opportunity to advance in Bakhmut. And Kherson, located at the gateway to Crimea, was the only major Ukrainian city they've had. At the same time, the Russians are sincerely happy because the ruined town of Bakhmut is a great trade-off for losing the rest of Ukraine and turning into the most sanctioned and despised terrorist dog in the world. That's pretty much all you needed to know about the legendary Russian achievements and the Russia's logic in general. As for the rest of the news, the Ukrainian defenders took control over several Russian positions south of Bakhmut, capturing prisoners and furthermore securing the strategic highway. As you can see, the Ukrainian army is still there, actively canceling the Russian terrorists. Also, the Russian invaders in the occupied Berdyansk were presented with a beautiful firework generously donated by the Ukrainian HIMARS directly to the Russian headquarters. Another delivery happened in Krasnodar, located roughly 200 miles or 300 kilometers from the Ukrainian-controlled territory, faster and safer than the DHL. Japan announced more sanctions against the terrorist federation, and just so you could understand the picture, all of the G7 countries actively supporting Ukraine have the total net worth of approximately $200 trillion, which is roughly 200 times more than the annual Russian GDP. That's why you can simply ignore the zombies, repeating the same delusion that you cannot defeat Russia because it's so big and mighty. it will collapse really bad, and you can quote me on that. My name is Operator Starsky. As always, be safe.